It's time for another Budget Brawl. Welcome back to the Bottom Shelf. I'm Josh.
I'm Keith.
And I'm Eric.
And today we're going to do a budget blended Irish whiskey brawl.
Say that 10 times fast.
Joyce, who are our competitors today?
We have 4 competitors in today's Budget Brawl. In the first corner, coming in at $23, Clontarf 1014. In the next corner, coming in at $20, we have Patties. In the next corner, coming in at $25, we have Bushmills. And finally, in the last corner, coming in at $19, we have 2 Gingers. All competitors weigh in at 80 proof for this blended Irish brawl. Here we go. Let's brawl.
All right, thanks, Joyce, and thank you for pouring our whiskeys. As with all budget brawls, we're going to go A through D. We'll take a small break and then go back D through A. Then we'll take some time for ourselves to set them in whatever order we prefer, and then we'll go through results. So we'll start with A. Not a whole lot on this one. I'm seeing like a little bit of a malt funk and a little bit ethanol.
Perfumey.
It's kind of bland.
Right. Yeah. I guess so. That's not bad on the palate. A little more spice. A little more oak.
It's not bad. It's not great either.
Sweet and spicy.
It's okay. I'm not getting any spice on that. I mean, I'm getting some, but not like, I wouldn't classify it as spicy.
I'm getting more like sweet baking spices kind of thing.
Oh, maybe.
It's okay. But I don't want to give it too much thought because it's the first one.
Right. I'm moving on to B.
That one's got a little more funkiness to it.
I'm getting more like a leathery, smooth.
Like a newer leather.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit of toffee and cocoa.
I could see like some toffee. Toffee has like a slight mustiness to it when you smell it. Almost like when you get toffee from a bag.
But I almost get like I'm smelling a Heath bar.
Yeah.
So,
with cocoa, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so.
See, that I would classify as having some spice.
Really? I'm backwards with that. Like, that one was not spicy to me. It was almost bland compared to the nose.
I like the thick mouthfeel on this one. It's almost syrupy.
I like the finish on this. It's
the finish is longer.
And not as dry.
All right, I'm moving on to C.
I need to take short.
That's different.
Green apple.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I got was like a green apple.
Like sour.
Yeah, like a green sour apple.
Yeah.
The longer I smell it, it kind of goes away, the green apple, but then it kind of resumes to like musty note that we've been getting.
I'm not getting as much ethanol on this one as I did on the other two. Not that they were very ethanol forward.
No.
This one has even less.
Yeah, I'm being more of like a malt must.
The green apple kind of like evolves into a pear.
The spice on that one lingers longer in the finish.
Again, another thick mouthfeel.
Yeah, definitely thicker. It's definitely more oily.
Not near as sweet. That mustiness that we got on the nose, I'm getting on the palate. Not much finish though.
I thought it had like a decently long spice finish, but not an oil, like not a very rich finish.
I thought it had a fairly medium finish.
D, a little more, very light still, but a little more fruity than musty.
Yeah, I think this one's the lightest.
A little bit of vanilla. Every note here is light, but if you try to like dive in and figure out what it is.
Again, I'm getting floral. Like a floral perfume. Not as strong as A. Like you said, everything's kind of light and airy.
It's like whatever the notes are, the air just kind of passed over them and you're like near them, the wind's passing over it.
Yeah.
A very nice light breeze passing over it, you're smelling it. When it comes to the floral notes, it's like you're in a...
It's like you're not in the garden, you're walking past a garden.
Yeah, or you're walking past the garden center that has all the...
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredibly light.
I wouldn't say thin, but I would say watery.
No, I would say thin.
I feel like it can be thin without being watery. This one actually tasted like it was watery.
B and C, I was getting a thick, syrupy feel to it. This one is more like a watered down syrupy feel. It's not watery, but it's like if you took maple syrup and added water to it.
So now that we've gone through A through D, I will say I have no idea which one's which.
Oh yeah, I have no idea. I have an early favorite.
All right, well, now that we are through our first round, we'll go ahead and take a break. While we are doing that, let's go ahead and tell you about our different places on the internet. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at The Bottom Shelf and on Twitter at Shelf Whiskey. You can also find us on podhubnetwork.com. That's our location for our podcast. You can also support us by checking out our Patreon down below, as well as our Buy Me a Coffee, where you can buy us whiskey and have an opportunity to choose a whiskey that we do a review for.
And look for any of these on Drizzly.
We're going to go ahead and start going back through D through A and see how things have changed. There's a little bit more lemon on this one now. There was like a slight weird funk note that like not normal funk.
It's not as light. I still think it's pretty sweet, kind of vanilla, floral.
A little more spice forward.
Nope, still water.
No, that sip was better for me. It was a little more spice forward. Mid palate, there was nothing really there, but forward palate and on the finish, it was definitely a shorter finish. Like I'd say short medium.
I would say it's better this time around. Still not great.
I found it slightly thicker this time around. Like you said, not as watery.
All right, moving on to C. This one's also a little more robust. I think the fruit's a little more stronger this time.
Yeah, that green apple was much more forward this time.
The finish feels shorter this time around, but the palate is more robust and spicier.
It definitely feels like so far that most of these, when it comes to the palate, the only flavor you're really getting is from the barrel.
Like the wood notes coming out, the spiciness coming out.
The spice notes, the wood notes, which tend to come from the barrel. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's been the main note on the palate has been that. It doesn't feel like there's been a lot coming from the spirit itself. All right, let's go into B. So that leather note turned into like a little bit more vanilla.
No, see, for me, it's still very leathery. There's like a hint of vanilla, maybe, but
like a vanilla, not like a super sweet caramel, but like a very like caramely caramel,
like Werther's.
Yeah, like Werther's original. I'm actually really enjoying this nose now, and that note does come through on the palate this time.
This is getting harder. Yeah, this is still super bland.
Are you moving on to A?
I moved on to A. Yeah.
It's still ethanol forward on the nose. It's a little bit more vanilla for me. It's reminding me more of a Canadian, not in strength, but in general profile, like ethanol and vanilla.
I can see that.
I'm still getting perfume forward on it.
I smell this and I go, it's probably an Irish. It smells pretty bland, which is generally what I think of Irish whiskeys, even though I really enjoy Irish whiskey. That is much better on the palate than it was the first time around.
It's much better than the first time around, but I don't think it's as good as the other ones were. But it's definitely better than it was the first time.
I don't think it's my last place one, for palate anyway. Overall, we'll see.
So when it comes to like doing your own ratings, what is your like when you guys are doing them in order, what is your general philosophy of doing that?
What do you mean?
Like for me it's the mouth experience is primary. Like that is the most important thing for me. Like the nose is a good benefit, and unless it's like really good, it's probably not going to swing me. But if I'm tied between two for palate, the nose is what's going to send it one over the top than the other for me.
I can tell you, I haven't made up my mind entirely, but I have a top two and a bottom two. Those top two, they're very similar palate-wise for me. That's generally what I'm choosing as my top priority. Currently, the top one is pushed over just a little bit by the nose.
Okay.
With me, I go for palate and taste first. Right. I mean, we're drinking the whiskey.
It's It's something you drink. If I was
that's number one.
Sniffing.
And also keeping that in mind that we're drinking the whiskey, I go finish as my second, and I use the nose as a tiebreaker if I have something.
Yeah.
Because again, the finish is part of the tasting experience.
Yes,
of it.
I would agree. Okay. So we're pretty much all on the same page on like what our priorities are. That being said, I think the nose is definitely important because it does give you a first impression to the whiskey. All right. Well, I think we've gone through D through A, and now we're just going to kind of break off into do our own thing for a little bit. We're going to taste them, put them in our own order, and then we will come back with results and see who comes out on top. So stay around. All right, so we've done our tastings. We've set everything into our places and our general consensus on where everything is. So we'll go ahead and dive into this. just for everyone to know what some of the rules changes I've decided. I guess I didn't really pass them by you guys. I think I did. I may have. For now on, what we're going to do is we're going to put the top 2 into the next round. So
yes, we did talk about this.
We did talk about this?
Yes.
Yeah. So for all we know, the best 2 blended Irish whiskeys are in this round here. And so to kick the second best out because it was in the first round, it seems a little unfair. And if you are not able to get the best one, like what our opinion is the best one, then you at least know what the second best one is. And we can continue to do that with more contenders as we go on. So we're going to decide what our favorite one is between 3 of us, and then our second favorite between the 3 of us. And those 2 will go on to the next round when we do more blended Irish whiskeys. All right, so let's start in last place and work our way up. I have A in last place.
I also have A in last place.
Yes.
All right, so A is universally our least favorite. I have a guess for this. Let's see if I'm right.
I also the guess for this.
Okay, well,
too.
what's everyone's guess? My guess is it's Clontarf.
Yeah.
Same.
I just remember we did not like that one.
I remember
Right.
not liking it. I remember vaguely it having what I thought of A this time around. So
I got to be perfectly honest. Going back and watching our older videos, and Clontarf was one of the first ones that we've done. I can imagine now I would even most likely rate it lower than what I did then.
I think its ratings when we did it the first time benefited from
being
Early.
being early and not having
Right.
plenty of things to compare it to.
right.
And Bushmills was our very first one. So real quick, let's just, before I reveal, because I don't want to reveal it to myself really until I
Yeah.
have a discussion. I have D in third.
I also have D in third.
D in third.
I have C in second.
C.
I have B in second.
Okay. So, and then I have B in first. You have C.
I have C in first.
B in first.
B in first. Okay. So B is going to be our clear winner. Just because
I can be convinced. It was a tight first and second.
And this is one of the other reasons why it's nice to have let the second place one continue on.
Right, because we agree A and D, they shouldn't move on. We don't necessarily agree B and C,
We have a general consensus with
but we have agreed that they're the top 2.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead. A.
Before we reveal,
Okay.
are we going to talk about our likes and dislikes with B and C?
We can. So what I liked about B was that caramel note, that the Werther's original note, that came through not only in the nose, but also in the palate. And just had that great experience for me. C did have a little bit more fruit notes.
See, I like the fruity and the sour notes of C, and that's actually what pushed it just that little bit over B.
Yeah, so that's just like a preference thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
entirely preference.
Yeah, I like the green apple with C, but really the like you said, the caramel. I picked up toffee and cocoa. I mentioned that it tasted almost like a Heath bar to me, and Heath bar is one of my favorite candies, so that was like the pusher for me.
A, in last place, Clontarf 1014.
Okay.
Last place goes on the bomb shelf.
Sorry, Clontarf.
Third place, we had D. This surprised me.
Patties?
2 gingers.
2 gingers.
2 gingers was
I
third.
did expect that one to be in the top 2.
Yeah.
I did expect Patties to win it, though.
We don't know.
So, I don't know who won it yet, but
All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to put this on the bomb shelf as well.
I expected it to be Patties and 2 gingers.
I expect to be Patties and 2 gingers as well. That's what I thought was going to be first and second. All right, well, I was wrong with that, so goes to show what we know. So our second, your first, is C, which is Bushmills. This was the very first video that we did, was reviewing Bushmills.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember loving it when we did it for the very first video, but I'm actually kind of glad that it got second here. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was good when we reviewed it.
Yeah.
We didn't rate it high, but we didn't kill it either.
No, we didn't. You're right.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, so second place is Bushmills, which means Patty, my first place, your first place, his second place, is our winner.
And that's Patty, not Pappy.
It's not the rare bourbon that definitely is not in our price range.
Nor is it Irish.
Nor is it Irish. So yeah, so there we go. There we go. Is our first and second place. That's super exciting, and it means that it has some reassurance for me since Patty did win best blended Irish whiskey. I think it was last year or 2 years ago at one of the whiskey festivals.
So it's got some pedigree.
Yeah. And so back when I first started drinking, I don't think I talked about this in our Patty review. When I first started drinking Patty came in a screw top and had this like weird like 3-color like orange, blue, red label on it. And now it's upgraded to a nice white and gold label, and
It's a much classier label than it used to be, for sure.
it has a cork now. So of course the one with the cork won out for us.
Not that really matters
No.
in quality.
That being said, so Patty is, Joyce should have gone over the prices in the overview, but this is a $20 bottle.
Mm-hmm.
This is a $25 bottle. Those ones, Clontarf is also like about the same price as Bushmills, and or a little bit lower, in between the two, I think. And then Two Gingers is the cheapest of all three, or all four.
For the money, Patty's then.
Yeah, absolutely.
By far.
Well, that's our Budget Brawl. Thanks for tuning in. This was super fun to do, and I'm glad to finally get around to doing an Irish brawl, considering we did Bushmills as the very first video.
Right.
So super exciting, and it was fun. So we do have more Budget Brawls coming in down the pipeline, so look forward to those, and we will see you next week. And until next time, may the winds of fortune sail you.
May you sail a gentle sea.
May it always be the other guy who says,
This drink's on me.